We are back with another video. Before we get into the video, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Now, Cardi B and Cardi B fans are clowning Scratch Off because Scratch Off's Big Mama departs from the Billboard 200 album chart after 6 weeks. It becomes the shortest charting album of Scratch Off's career. A fan said, on Cardi B's 7th week with I Am Ugly album, she was at number 10 on the Billboard 200 with 29,000 units, by the way. Okay, so a lot of the Cardi B fans are clowning Scratch Off. Obviously, we know that Scratch Off dissed Cardi B on the album because Cardi B called Scratch Off a pussy, even though they were supposed to be friends. So let me know if this is a flop for Scratch Off. In my opinion, her album being on the charts for 6 weeks really doesn't make a difference because at the end of the day, it only did 34,000 first week. So it don't really matter that it was on the charts for 6 weeks because it only did 34,000 the first week or 33,000. Now, fans are also calling out Scratch Off because she did tweet. Well, she responded to a tweet that said, I don't give an F how much the album sold. This is my shit after the first week numbers came out. She said, real, cause why are people that don't get a royalty check worried about sales? My music always outlives release week. Big first week doesn't equal impact, okay? But unfortunately, it don't look like she got the impact since the album is only on the charts for 6 weeks. So, she might have shot herself in the foot, no pun intended, when she said that. But in my opinion, I think when it comes to Scratch Off, what ruined the trajectory of Scratch Off was her ego. I do think that Scratch Off has a big ego and she thinks that she's bigger than the program or that she's bigger than she actually is. And that's why she has basically ruined her career and ruined her relationships with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. Now, the Cardi B one, I do understand. I mean, I do feel like Cardi B was wrong for calling her a pussy. But at the end of the day, Cardi B is the bigger artist. So Cardi B is going to get favoritism amongst the general public. The Nicki Minaj situation, I don't really understand why she came for Nicki and talked about her family. She didn't even go as hard as, she went after Nicki family, but she didn't even go that hard on Cardi B. And Cardi B called her a pussy. Nicki Minaj talked about how low energy and what was the song Super Freaky Girl should be in the same category in the Grammys, and she started going off on her because Nicki Minaj declined that collaboration. But the point of the matter is, I feel like, she went easy on Cardi B, but at the end of the day, you kind of ruined your career by dragging and going after Nicki Minaj, thinking that you was bigger than the program, and then you thought you was bigger than the program when it came to Cardi B, and you're sadly mistaken. You're not bigger than any female rapper out currently. I don't even know if you bigger than Carisha, to be quite honest, because she out charting you now. Now, 3 Dreads, a.k.a. Lil Wayne, kisses up to Camel Face because he still wants to perform at the Super Bowl. Take a listen to what 3 Dreads has to say.
My favorite rapper is Jay-Z.
He's in my top 5.
And Missy Elliott.
You listen to any current rap or no? Not really.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Now, Wayne, I know that, he's always shown love to Camel Face. But, of course, the 2 rappers you mentioned that are your favorite despise your artists that you signed, Nicki Minaj and Champagne Thickums. The 2 rappers that hate your artists, of course you would name them. Missy was part of the mumbling and cackling crew. Okay? And Camel Face been sabotaging Nicki since she wouldn't sign to Roc Nation and then, the whole title ordeal. But The point of the matter is, even after all the stuff Nicki Minaj and Champagne Thickums been through, and the fact that you didn't even get the Super Bowl, you still mentioning Camel Face. Like, do you have to kiss ass all the time? But then again, no shade. If Camel Face paid for my taxes, you know what I'm saying, I might kiss butt too. You gotta think about that. No shade. Wayne couldn't pay his taxes because Birdman owed him money, and he had to sue Birdman. He called up Camel Face, and Camel Face paid the tab before he was even a billionaire because he's a gatekeeper. So, at the end of the day, maybe he feel like he owned Camel Face even after Camel Face snubbing him. And here's my thing. And here's another thing. Camel Face and Wayne got a lot of collaborations. They got about like 3 or 4 collaborations. And he didn't even bring you out to not one show. Camel Face don't give a fuck about Wayne. I'm starting to think Wayne is a paid mole. It's like he wants to sabotage Nicki Minaj and Drake or something, but he must not really like them. Well, actually, I have the tea on that on Patreon. Y'all go check that out on how Wayne really feels about Nicki and Drake. But the point of the matter is, he did not bring you out. Y'all got 3 or 4 collaborations. He brought out Nas, who he was beefing with, who he said he left the condom in the baby seat. But he did not bring you out, and y'all got multiple collaborations. He brought out everybody else. Beyonce, Rihanna, Memphis Bleak, Eminem and him only got 1 collaboration, and he brought out Eminem. Why didn't he not bring out Wayne? Because Camel Face don't give a fuck about you, Wayne. You gotta stop kissing butt. But you might have to, because low-key, Deseret, who was pardoned by the president, can make a few phone calls and you might owe the IRS. So you might have no choice but to kiss butt, but you're not performing at the Super Bowl, okay? You do that all the time. You kiss butt too much and Camel Face pays you dust. Okay, he didn't even bring you out to not one show. He brought out Meek Mill at the Roots picnic. He did not bring you out once. Y'all got 3 collaborations. He don't fuck with you, Wayne. No shade. But I'm glad he paid your taxes. You may say, why don't he fuck with Wayne? Because Wayne did not sign to Devil Nation. Do you think he paid his taxes for free? No. I don't understand why Wayne is turning on Nicki and Drake. He acting like a paid mole. My thing, he don't fuck with all 3 of y'all. Okay? He don't fuck with Drake. He don't fuck with Nicki. He don't fuck with you. Because y'all did not sign to Rock Nation when he asked y'all to. Point blank, period. And then Nicki started dragging him in regards to not getting paid for title. Okay? So, it is what it is. But Wayne, stop kissing butt, please. We don't need you kissing butt. And you kissing up to 2 people that just don't like your artist. It looks bad. Young Money never stick together, though. They would be stronger together, but they don't stick together. That's usually how it go for black people. Now, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj are being blamed for ruining Doja Cat's rollout and album for V. A fan said Cardi and Nicki's beef really ruined Doja Cat's rollout, if we're being so honest. She released V at the wrong time, okay? Because I guess she released it around the time they was going back and forth. Another fan said, like 100,000%, she should have dropped Jealous Type late May, Gorgeous July, and V August. Boom. Okay. Now let me know if you guys agree with it. No, I don't agree, because Nicki Minaj and Cardi B have went back and forth on social media plenty of times. If you cannot have a fan base buy your records, buy your songs, then that's on you. Doja Cat problem was she thought she was bigger than the program, similar to Scratch Off. That's why they working together in cahoots now. Is sneak dissing Nicki Minaj, or it could have been Cardi B in the song. What was the demonic song? She a devil, she a rebel. What was that song called? Oh, I think it's called The Town is Dead or something of that sort. And she was like, I don't need a big feature or a new sidekick. Remember, she said something of that sort. She didn't need features or a big sidekick while she's flopping and doing a bunch of features now. Now, I still like Doja Cat somewhat to a certain degree, but, she was cocky. She was arrogant. She pissed off some of her fans. So that is the reason why V flop. It had nothing to do with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. Stop it. Now, moving on from that, Chris Blake is continuing to ruin Stephon Diddy's career. But in my opinion, it is the Cardi B curse. I think Cardi B ruined Stephon Diddy's career ever since they got together and had that baby. It's been downhill for Stephon Diddy. Now, it has been recently reported that Stephon Diddy's male sexual assault accuser, Chris Griffiths, says he now has hard evidence proving the NFL star coordinated the LA beatdown on him. Christopher filed court docs saying that he plans to add new allegations to his lawsuit against Stephon using the evidence handed over by Diggs during discovery in the case. He said he now has text messages and phone records from Stephon's assistant showing the coordination of the attack, including logistical correspondence about booking flights and hotel arrangements with one of Chris's assailants on the day he was attacked. Chris says the phone logs also show Diggs made a call to the same assailant during the attack, and he says it's from the moment surveillance footage showed the alleged assailant on the phone in Chris's apartment building. Christopher also wants to add a claim of defamation against Stephon Diddy over a post he recently made on social media in which Stephon seemingly addressed the legal battle with Chris Blake, saying, "Mamas, niggas is lying on my name because he got caught stealing." Okay? So let me know how y'all feel about it. So basically, to break this all down, a few years ago, Chris Blake got beat up by Stephon Diddy's affiliates for allegedly turning down his sexual advances. He did sue, and I believe Stephon Diddy's affiliate did have to cough up some money that he probably got from Stephon Diddy himself. Now, with that being said, because I think Chris Blake did an interview with Tasha K and a few other different bloggers, Stephon Diddy is trying to sue Chris Blake for defamation. So that's why they're in court now. But Chris Blake did receive a payout. I don't think it was millions, but he did receive a payout for getting beat up years ago by Stephon Diddy's affiliates. So in my opinion, I think Stephon Diddy are guilty, because why would he have to get paid if you had nothing to do with, him getting beat up? Why did your affiliate have to pay him off? That doesn't make logical sense. And like I said before, I think Stephon Diddy's career has went downhill. Same with Off the Cheat and probably with Maduka Okoye, but same thing with Off the Cheat. Off the Cheat's career went downhill once they got in cahoots with Botch and Bitter, okay? Because that coochie is poisonous. It's not good for you. Why every time Cardi B is attached to somebody, it goes downhill for them? It never goes up. It just goes down. Okay? Something ain't right in that coochie. It might be smelly, but there also may be some voodoo in it, because there's no way that every time she get entangled with somebody, they facing legal trouble, their career starts flopping. It's always something. If I was Maduka Okoye, I would watch out. I wouldn't be shocked if this same thing happens to him. Now, moving on from that, Rihanna reportedly wants a song on her upcoming 9th studio album to sound like a Queen classic. Executives have reportedly been informed that she has been inspired by Freddie Mercury and has been listening to the band's old records quite a bit. Let me know how y'all feel about it. I think Rihanna's trying to come up with any excuse to not put out an album. First, she wanted to put out a reggae album and a pop album. Then, you know, she allegedly wanted her songs to sound similar to Anti. Now it's, oh, I'm inspired by Freddie Mercury. Bitch, if you don't get into the studio and put out some hits, you don't write your music anyway. So you don't really get a choice as to how it sounds because you don't write your music. Okay? When you write your music, you can choose how your music sounds. When you don't write it, you don't get to choose. You have writers. People talk about Beyonce, Rihanna's one and the same. Writing camps, 7 to 8 people on a record. So I don't want to hear the excuses. Put out the hits, ho. And that's that. But anyway, I got some very hot tea on Camel Face, Nicki, Taylor, Selena, Hailey Bieber, Justin on Patreon. Link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a great day.